Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. My name is Brendan Plays. This is the show where we answer all the questions that you send in every single week on the Brendan Plays forums at brendanplays.com/forums or in the YouTube comment section down below, leaving a voicemail on the website brendanplays.com or by leaving a comment on the Facebook page, facebook.com/brendanplaysofficial. Alrighty, so this week we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw and the upcoming draft that's going to be happening next week. We're going to talk about the Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt fight and a lot of news and things that's been going on, including some of these crazy rumors about Big Cass being the next fucking Brock Lesnar and just ridiculousness, this stupid rumors that have been going around. Some basketball talk as well. Obviously, Tim Duncan retiring. I want to talk a little bit about Ben Simmons and what I think of him so far. Obviously, I'm Australian, so I've got my eye on Ben Simmons, so we're going to talk a little bit about him. I've been watching some of the Summer League, so we'll talk about that later on. So we've got plenty to talk about with Raw as well. I actually thought Raw was a pretty good show this week, so we're going to talk about Raw and everything that I thought about, including something a little different this week on Raw. The Wyatt family versus New Day segment. Is it a TNA ripoff? Do they basically copy the final deletion match from Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy? I haven't actually talked about that either, so we will talk about that this week as well. Probably the only thing worth talking about from TNA this year, honestly. But also rumors about TNA even being sold as well. So I don't know if I'll talk about that because it's not really confirmed or anything like that. But maybe next week we'll get into that. UFC was sold this week as well. So a lot of things actually been happening in the wrestling and, we'll say wrestling, fighting kind of world. A lot of different things have been happening. But make sure you guys go ahead and follow me on Twitter. At Brendan Plays is my Twitter handle. Obviously, I just said my Facebook page, but the Facebook page is Brendan Plays Official. Support Let's Talk Tuesdays by supporting us on Patreon. We have a lot of different rewards that you can get your hands on by supporting us. So the more supporters, the more I can do more shows for you, make better videos for you, and just kind of do what I do for you guys on a more regular basis. So continue to support me, and I'll try and give back to you guys as much as I possibly can. And, check out the website, brendanplays.com, all of your Hell in a Cell updates. Speaking of Hell in a Cell, we basically have confirmed it, and it will be happening, let's have a look, on Saturday the 23rd of July. I believe it's going to take place at 2 p.m., I think is the time I do it. I still kind of blur because that's like 4 a.m. or something for me. But, so we will be having a pre-show as well. There will be Apollo Crews and AJ Styles for the NXT Championship on the pre-show, and in the main show as well we'll have a stack of matches. It's going to be a big card, actually. There's a lot of matches this time around, so plenty to look forward to. For Hell in a Cell, it should be a really, really interesting show, and I'm sure you guys will definitely enjoy it. I'm hoping it's probably one of my biggest and best pay-per-views in quite some time, so it's certainly building up to be that way. Even though Hell in a Cell in real life, and even to a degree, certainly my Universe mode isn't quite like the biggest pay-per-view at all. We've actually assembled a pretty good list of matches. Normally when I look at Hell in a Cell, I'm like, alright, we got a couple of Hell in a Cell matches we have to do. Let's get a couple of big matches around that. But then the rest of it, we're like, whatever. But this time around, I've actually kind of put some good effort into trying to make a Hell in a Cell really good. I actually think I did that last year as well, with the whole cash-in. No, that was my Night of Champions, actually. So Hell in a Cell last year was the big Chris Jericho and Undertaker match, and the big six-man Hell in a Cell. So that was pretty good as well. So Hell in a Cell has actually been a pretty good pay-per-view for us throughout Universe mode. So even though it's not so great in the real world, it's been pretty good for us recent times. But so July 23rd, that will be taking place, and you can go to the website brendanplays.com and visit the Hell in a Cell page if you want to see the entire match card. We will be finalizing the rest of the card this week on our Universe Mode episodes, and we should have them all out of the way before the weekend, and I'll have a whole week to kind of spend on trying to make the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Speaking of the series on my channel, finished up UFC, so that's all finished up, which is good. I mean, obviously not a series that kind of got a lot of views on the channel, but it was a fun series to do, something a little different, and I'm glad I did it anyways. I enjoyed doing it. Another series that is almost coming to an end as well is the NBA 2K16 My GM series as well. We basically have a few episodes to go, depending if we make the playoffs or not. If we make the playoffs, obviously we have the playoff series that we need to kind of play out. If we don't make the playoff series, that'll be the end of the series. But we've enjoyed doing that. Obviously, it's been very choppy, like one episode a month at some points. But at the end of the day, we finished it. We're going to finish it, and that's something that at least I wanted to do. Even though I knew that I kind of fucked up and, made you guys wait forever for each episode, and by the time of it came out, you didn't care anymore. At least at the end of the day, I finished it out. So we're going to have that done. And then we're going to have a bit of a gap in there because here's the dilemma. WWE 2K16 and NBA 2K16, 2K17 for both of those games. I'm still living in the past. Their new games are coming out in October. I think actually NBA might be September. So the dilemma is that we're in July now. We're nearly midway July. This year has gone so quick. Now, once we finish NBA, we'll only have the GM mode and the SmackDown vs. Raw GM mode and the Universe mode and the podcast to do. So that'll give us a lot of time to do whatever we want. But it also will mean, do we start a new series until then? The 2 months or so, will we get enough episodes in? Will we finish a series in time? So I'm guessing we probably won't. So I guess for the next couple of months on the channel, I guess you probably expect to see a lot of Universe mode. I'm also planning to take, to stop Universe mode at the end of TLC. So when we get to 2K17, I want to start brand new on that calendar year. And that 4 weeks heading into the Royal Rumble, and then the Royal Rumble on the road to WrestleMania. That's what we want to kick it off with on Universe mode. So that'll probably mean we might have 2-3 weeks off as well from Universe mode. So there'll be a period of time where I don't know what the hell I'm going to be uploading. Obviously, NBA 2K17 will be out by then. It'll be the decision of whether or not we're going to do another GM mode. Probably thinking maybe a GM mode with the Miami Heat would be fun. Trying to rebuild that team, or and a career mode, which is something we haven't done yet on the channel. So that'll be something different. I know a lot of people do career mode, which is the reason why I probably will lean towards GM mode. More opportunity for me to kind of sink my teeth into it. Not many, bigger channels doing GM mode. They mainly do career mode. So that's something that I can kind of focus on, and something different for you guys to see, because I won't be solely uploading NBA, so I won't have my career won't be ahead of everyone else. So, the GM mode, I can kind of go at my own pace, my own time, and kind of, achieve what I want. So probably a better thing for me to do that. Also, maybe even kind of diving into the new FIFA career mode might be an option as well. I'm kind of undecided on that. So there's a few different things we got planned coming up. I'm enjoying the sport games, obviously. Later this year, Battlefield 1, when that comes, I'm definitely going to be playing that. Trying to do regular videos on that as well would be really cool. I do miss the days when I was, doing the Call of Duty and the Battlefield and the Medal of Honor videos back in 2010, 11, 12, when I used to have my old channel. Some of you guys might be aware of that, but I used to kind of make those types of videos, so I'd like to kind of bring those back. And even though I know you guys mainly watch for the WWE, but, branch it out. Maybe if you guys are interested, you can kind of check that out. But that'll be something that I'm definitely going to do later on this year. So we got some cool things planned. But we are coming to the conclusion for a lot of our series for this until the new games come out. So we're doing pretty good at the end of the day. Once we finish GM mode on SmackDown vs. Raw, probably Here Comes the Pain story mode we'll do. I've tempted to do a SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 General Manager mode, but I think we might cool it on the GM mode for a little bit and kind of just do a story mode on a game, maybe 2 games, I'm not sure, and then we'll come back to GM mode, maybe finish it off with 2006, because we've done 2008, now 2007, so once we get to 2006, that'll be GM mode, done and dusted. So yeah, so we'll wait it out for that one, and maybe we'll do that later on. But so there's a few different ideas, a few different things I got going on the channel. So I just like to keep you guys updated. That's what I like to do here on the podcast. Not all about the WWE. It's sometimes a little bit about me as well. So before we get to the WWE, UFC, big thing, obviously, all over social media, the press covering, everyone covering it, and just goes to show where WWE fails. All over social media, people who you wouldn't even expect to be watching this show on Twitter and Facebook are kind of commenting about it. It's crazy. But UFC has that reach, and Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt was one of the main events. For me, it was the main event. Once Jones pulled out, it was without a doubt the main event. Tate versus Nunes or whatever. I didn't even watch it. I turned it off. To me, I don't know. I just haven't got my head around women fighting. Like, I saw Misha Tate, her whole face busted up and bleeding everywhere. For me, I just don't really want to see that, honestly. Like, I think she's a good-looking woman, and I'd like to kind of keep that picture there. I like to kind of see her in one piece, not, smashed her head in. I don't really want to see that. So, haven't got the appeal of women fighting in the octagon yet. The Ronda Rousey thing, I've seen a couple of her fights, but, that's okay. But I would, just not for me. But Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt, a lot of people criticizing it, that it was boring, that it sucked. Look, I'm no MMA expert, I'm no UFC, full-time, I watch every damn fight. I'm a very, very loosely casual viewer. I'll check out a fight on a pay-per-view here and there. But I thought it was a well-executed fight by Brock Lesnar. Now, the thing is, a lot of criticism was for Daniel Cormier as well in his fight against Anderson, which I thought was pretty boring. They're just he just wrestled him to the mat and kind of laid all over him, and that was it. Which is pretty true. But I thought Brock Lesnar, he was working, obviously had a game plan, and he executed it. If he had stood up with Mark Hunt, basically, this is what I said last week on the show, if he stands up with Mark Hunt, it's all over, And in that second round, when they were basically standing the whole time, I was really on the edge of the seat going, oh my god, Lesnar's going to get beat right here. I was really worried for him, but he survived that round, and he got to the third round, and man, this guy is just unbelievable. His power, his speed, his strength is incredible. He just picks up Hunt, slams him to the ground, and gets on top of him, and there's nothing Hunt can do, because Lesnar's just so powerful and dominant. Mark Hunt can barely get up. He couldn't move around. Lesnar just had a hold of him and just kept striking him into the head. It was brutal. I actually really enjoyed the fight. I betted on Brock Lesnar. I had money on Brock Lesnar because the bookmakers, they said Mark Hunt was the favorite. I'm just thinking, like, man, how the hell's Mark Hunt the favorite? If Lesnar can take Hunt to the ground, it's over. And it pretty much was, To Mark Hunt's credit, he didn't get knocked out, and that was impressive enough as it, in its own. They didn't get knocked out. Some of those strikes were really vicious and tough, and Hunt, he got straight back up. So he's a beast, no doubt about that. I know he kind of says he's Australian now when he's really from New Zealand, but haven't jumped on the Mark Hunt bandwagon even though he thinks he's Australian. But Brock Lesnar billing himself from Canada, by the way, that was a little bit different and strange, but. So Mark Hunt, I was always cheering for Brock Lesnar. Like I said, money on Lesnar. Lesnar's my favorite wrestler. And it was cool to have someone I wanted to see in UFC, someone that I really like and really want to win. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was yelling at my computer screen saying, come on, Lesnar, beat him, go, come on. I was yelling at my computer screen, no lie, because I really wanted him to win that much. And I haven't had that feeling at all with any fighter in the UFC. And when I'm watching a Conor McGregor fight, I don't really like the guy, but I'm just watching, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So if someone gets knocked out, I'm like, oh wow, but there's never that reaction that I've had for Brock Lesnar. So it was really cool that I've had that experience now, really kind of rooting for a fighter. And will I have the same response from CM Punk fights? If he ever fights, look. I think I will support CM Punk when he fights. I think even though he's trash wrestling, it's just a joke now. Sometimes I'm just sick of hearing the guy's name, and just even thinking about the guy just annoys me. But I still like CM Punk. Still, he was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and I still will support him. So maybe I'll have the same response, maybe not. But I'll just be very excited to see CM Punk. CM Punk compared to Brock Lesnar is really no match at all. You're watching Lesnar fight is just a spectacle, isn't it? Just seeing that guy in the octagon is incredible. CM Punk, I don't think is going to be much to see, so it'll be a little bit different of a story. But yeah, I thought pretty impressive from Lesnar. I enjoyed the fight. I don't care what people say. I enjoyed the fight. I thought Lesnar executed his game well, wrestled Hunt to the ground, and kind of kept him there, and easily won. It was an easy win for Lesnar, so it was a good win. Brock Lesnar's future now. Look, for me, I would say, Brock, that's it. You got $2.5 million to fight Mark Hunt, who Mark Hunt himself got $700,000, so it was a pretty good payday for Hunt. That's excluding the the pay-per-view bonuses that they get. So Brock Lesnar's probably going to make a lot of fucking money, probably over $3 million at least. So Brock Lesnar got paid really, really well. Now, Brock Lesnar, he won, he got away with it. If he goes back and fights again and he loses, that's when it's going to hurt his image. That's when it's going to hurt his credibility. If Brock Lesnar had a loss to Mark Hunt, I don't think it would have affected him. You know, people kind of worry that, oh my god, he's not going to be a draw anymore on the WWE. I disagree, because Brock Lesnar had nothing to lose taking this fight. Brock Lesnar, he's already had a good career in UFC, already won the World Championship. He came back because he wanted to have one more fight. He wanted to prove that, hey, I can still do it. You know, if I want to do it, I'm going to see how I go. Let's see how I go when I'm 100%. It's been 5 years, but we'll see how we go. And if he lost, well, and didn't embarrass himself, had got knocked out in 10 seconds, yeah, he would have been, fucked. But if he had lost in, a couple of rounds, maybe he got knocked down, all right, man, well, look, he came back. It's been a while since he fought. He gave it his best. Fair enough. I don't think it would have been mattered too much. But now Lesnar's won. Everyone is saying, man, Lesnar looked good. He's in great shape. This guy looks like a beast. Oh, my God. Everyone's impressed at Brock Lesnar. So he comes back and loses again. This time, he's willing to, fight again, have another fight. And if he loses, that's when it's going to affect him the most. So, for me, if I'm Brock Lesnar's team, his agent, if I'm Paul Heyman, I'm saying, Lesnar, look, you had a win, you got what you wanted, you got to fight at UFC 200, their biggest pay-per-view in their history, probably going to be their biggest buy rate of all time. You got to co-main event that, you got it all, you got everything you could have wanted, you got a win. Why go back for more? If you go back for more, you just, you get him maybe a little bit too greedy. It's going to come back to bite you. So, if my opinion, Brock Lesnar, you got your win. All right, let's come back, do what you're doing in the WWE, and have another few years in the WWE, then probably call it quits, probably retire and go off and go on his farm and do whatever the fuck he wants. Lesnar's 38, 39 years old now. He's got a farm, he's just living that low life, he's stupidly rich, he's filthy rich. I mean, he just got paid that much. WWE's paying him, $5 million a year as well. Guy doesn't need any money. He just does it because he likes to do it. So, I mean, if he's passionate enough and he wants to go back and have another fight, I mean, fair enough. But I think, in my opinion, why you had the fight, you had the win, why risk anymore? You can go back to WWE, they'll pay you even more. WWE will have to give him a fucking pay increase after that. The WWE will probably, he could renegotiate and they'll have to probably give him $7.5 million, something like that. So he'll probably get even more money from them. So for me, Lesnar, just, go back to WWE, do SummerSlam, do whatever else they want you to do, and they'll probably give him a championship belt again. He can be king of the world, and he doesn't have to really do all that much to be the king of the world. He just go there, have fun, throw people around the ring, and that'll be it. He doesn't have to go through the rigorous training that he had to do in UFC, and he's getting up there in age now, so trying to go back and do more and more of that might be a little bit harder for him to do, and he's still getting paid the same amount, if not more, and and it doesn't really hurt his image anymore. So I think, for me, if I'm Lesnar, call it a day. But like I said, I enjoyed the fight. I watched probably 2 or 3 fights of the card, and a lot of people kind of rated it pretty negatively, and I got to agree, from what I watched, wasn't an incredible showing. I missed the main event, which apparently was the best fight of the show, but I didn't really care enough to go back and watch. But I only really was interested in Lesnar and Hunt, and I felt like I enjoyed that fight, and I got I didn't pay for it, but I got my money's worth, But so Monday Night Raw, we'll talk about Raw now, and I got to say, I enjoyed this week's Raw, and this week's Raw was very much centered around the draft, and I actually got to say something I haven't said in a long time. I want to say positive words about Michael Cole and JBL and maybe Byron Saxton, maybe. Okay, we'll say a couple of decent things. I just want to say, I thought the talk and the discussion that they had on Raw throughout the show about the draft, in terms of, these guys need to, like, the top picks will get a better contract, they'll get more money, it's so important that we kind of, all these different things they kind of talk about. You know what I'm talking about. You watch the show, just the draft talk in general. I thought it was good insight by the commentators, and it built the draft up really well and made it feel like a really important night. I know they were trying to like make it feel like like an NBA draft. The number one pick, he's the flagship. He's going to be the man. He gets the most money. Blah 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 blah. It was good. I actually really liked that. So I'm going to say good insight by the commentators. It made the draft feel like a good, much more important event. And honestly, the draft, next week's Raw, it looks like it's going to be a good one. And then SmackDown, when the draft takes place, it could be, and then Battleground later on, technically the next week, but that 1 week of wrestling, those 7 days worth of wrestling, for WWE could be their biggest week in a long, long time. And it's going to be very exciting. I think it's then probably their most exciting week in a long time because, next week, they're going to have a title match. Why? Probably to do with the ratings. Probably they feel like the ratings are down. They want to try and have a good lead into the draft. So they want to have a strong rating for Raw and then kind of get as many possible people as they can to know about the draft. Try and get them to watch SmackDown as well. So it makes sense to have a big match on Raw, kind of promote the draft a lot. And even a couple of surprises as well. Who's going to be the next general managers? They're kind of doing a few things there as well. So it's probably good business from the WWE to do that. So pretty smart there. But yeah, just to finish it up, good insight by the commentators, kind of talking about all the different elements of the draft. I thought that was good. So that's something that for me as a viewer, that's some of the things that I listen out for. Like I kind of, they're pretty obvious types of things, but just them to say that back was good. I like that. So if I was doing a draft similar like that on my universe mode, those are the types of things that I would like to discuss and let the viewers know. So for me as a viewer, those are certain things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. I like that. So for me, I like that. I also really liked the start of Monday Night Raw as well. It was something different. It was a battle royal to start Raw and not a promo. Actually, when I flicked on Raw because I slept in a little bit, so I wasn't quite ready to watch Raw. I woke up, I flicked it on, so, I was still kind of waking up, taking my dog out and doing all that. Those different things I do when I, start the day. So I flicked Raw on. Yes, Raw's on the morning for me. So I flicked Raw on, and I was expecting, maybe a Seth Rollins, maybe a Dean Ambrose, someone to come out, cut a 10-minute promo, get interrupted by someone, the usual shit on Raw. But I came on, saw Raw, turned it on, and the ring was filled, and for some reason Apollo Crews got an entrance and no one else did. So I was like, wow, we're having a battle royal. This is something different and something good. Something different is good. Thank God we're going away just a little bit. For 1 week, probably only, we're going a little bit away from the formula of a promo to start the show. So that was nice. A nice, welcomed change. And Darren Young won the Battle Royal. Yeah, a lot of people probably want to know my thoughts on this. Look, I've been very critical of Darren Young and the way they've used him. The promos have been abysmal. But he got a reaction. When he won the Battle Royal, he got a reaction. Now, I think that's not a fair representation of how people pursue, see his character. He got a reaction when he won. The crowd popped a bit. Good reaction. Bob Backlund came in, was going crazy, picking up Darren Young and whatever. That was okay. Fair enough, whatever. And I was listening to another podcast today as well, and they point out the fact that Bob Backlund, he's meant to be Darren Young's coach, and he's just standing there watching. When Darren Young's nearly getting eliminated, he's not he's not yelling things out to him. He's not coaching him, which is what you would want your coach to be doing. So he's not really playing the role of a coach very well. But Darren Young winning, obviously, it had to be a babyface because The Miz is a heel. So we kind of ruled out Baron Corbin from the get-go. It was probably only going to be Darren Young or Apollo Crews. And when it got to the Final Four, I thought, what, I think this is going to be Darren Young. I really do. So, look, it's probably too soon for him, but it's a high-profile match, IC title match at pay-per-view. At the pay-per-view, when we see the audience respond to him and the whole gimmick and the whole make Darren Young great again crap, that's when we'll truly see the people's reaction to him. So I'm hereby taking Darren Young. I'm taking Darren Young off the shit list for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, Darren Young can have a reprieve. You are no longer on the Brendan Plays shit list, because I'm going to give you 2 weeks now that you've officially debuted. 2 weeks. Well, not re-debut, return. 2 weeks as this gimmick until Battleground is finished, done and dusted. I will wait, and then I'll pass my judgment on you. If you are shit, you can go back where you belong, and if you're okay, I'll let you stay off the list. So we'll see how Darren Young goes. Honestly, for me, I feel like this is going to be dead in the water in about 3 weeks' time, so I'm pretty much assuming he's going to be back on the list. Because, look, you know, we've talked about this the last few weeks, but they're just not doing anything to really represent he's being great. I mean, where is the backstage skits where Bob Backlund's yelling at him, do, 100 push-ups, or he's at the track and field and he's running around doing laps of the track, getting in shape, or he's at the gym lifting weights. Do something that would suggest that you're, getting better. Show Darren Young in the ring, trying to improve on his in-ring work. In terms of his match at Battleground, I feel like Darren Young needs to lose. If Darren Young wins, the crowd are going to turn on him, and eventually he's going to get booed because he's going to... Here's the thing. If he wins a Battleground, he'll get a pop because he's beating The Miz. But the next night on Raw, or on SmackDown, wherever the title is, and then the next week, and then the next week, the crowd are going to not give a flying shit. And the crowd might even boo him or just give him nothing. They're going to turn on him because it's going to be too quick, too soon. Hasn't earned it in their eyes. So, what I would do, I would have Darren Young lose. And this is when you kind of have Bob Backlund come in and you got to coach him. Coach him to try and get a rematch. Coach him to get better. So, take him to the Performance Center or something like that. Let's say The Miz beats him with a skull-crushing finale. Just have Darren Young in there with some random person, and he's, training to try and reverse, learn reversals for the skull-crushing finale or something like that. Training to beat The Miz. Wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make sense, making Darren Young great again? To make Darren Young great again, he needs to win the Intercontinental Championship. Well, he got beat by the skull-crushing finale. Let's learn ways to try and counter that. So wouldn't these different things kind of work and help build the character? Is it the WWE not giving a shit enough? They don't care enough? Is the WWE just lazy? They just don't, can't be bothered to do anything that's outside of the fucking arena that night? They proved that they wanted to do something. They did the Wyatt family thing, which we'll talk about later on. They did all that. So they've proven that they can actually do something outside of the ring. So how hard is it to get one camera, a couple of cameras, microphone, just get a small little crew, earlier that day, get them out there, record half an hour of crap. Couldn't they could record they could do a whole day of filming and they could use all these different things for ages and ages. Him in the gym, him running around, doing, push-ups and all these different things. They could use this clips for weeks. And they could do some of the stuff in the backstage of the arena. Like, the crew's already there. Well, then have them in the locker room doing stuff. Like, just these different things that will actually make the crowd believe that this guy is trying to become great again. That actually he's training to become better. Because we're not seeing that. So, him just coming back and winning a match straight away, which was arguably just by luck, which is what it was, doesn't really prove that he's been great again. So if he comes back and wins the title straight away, then no one's going to give a fuck. So, I would go with what I said, or something similar like that. You've got to start showing him improving. You've got to start showing him doing stuff with Bob Backlund as his coach. Instead of talking about it, show us it, and it will be much, much more effective. Later on the show, had John Cena came out. He made the save for Enzo and Cass. Cena got a great reaction, a really good reaction. The crowd went nuts for the guy. Before that, AJ Styles was getting a good reaction as well. Detroit was a pretty good crowd. So Cena, a really, really good reaction, which a little surprising. I think most of us actually thought he wasn't there because they kind of said that he wasn't, and they showed pictures of him in LA and whatever doing the ESPYs. So I actually thought, all right, he's not there, fair enough. But I'm thinking, well, is Enzo and Cass just going to get beat up here, or is Cena actually here? And yeah, there's his music went. So I think the crowd were genuinely surprised that he was there. So that's probably why the reaction was so good. But it was nice, Look, Cena is a respected veteran, been pushed down our throats for years and years and years. We know that, but he's in a bit of a lesser role now. I think we're kind of starting to realize Cena's doing all these other things. Michael Cole even said it. That's why I wanted to say the draft insight was kind of good, because it's actually realistic talk. Michael Cole said, do you really want to take John Cena as your number one pick? The guy's doing movies, he's doing TV. Would you really want your show built around John Cena as your number one guy? Or would you want to build around someone who's actually here every week? I actually thought that, that's a fair point. Michael Cole making sense. Holy shit, is this a first? That's why I wanted to kind of, say that was a good insight from them this week. So, yeah, it's a fair point that he made. And look, John Cena, him scaling back a bit and not being the vocal point every freaking week, not having a 20-minute promo every week, not, defending the US title or being in the world title picture every week, it's a good thing. People are going to grow more fond of him over time, And, I was listening to something as well. Look, they said, they kind of compared it similar to Triple H during the Triple H era when he was, in 5 different segments every damn show. And then after a while, he kind of scaled that back, and the crowd started to respond to him a little bit better because, they weren't seeing him, he wasn't being overbooked. They weren't seeing him over and over and over. They're starting to see him a little bit less and starting to kind of appreciate what he was doing rather than kind of being, oh my God, it's Triple H again. They won't, he wasn't being overexposed. And so Cena might be doing something a little bit similar to that, having just the one segment coming out, a great response, So obviously Enzo and Cass are doing very, very well. Actually, they're doing very, very well. Honestly, they are really doing well. And it's good to see a young tag team coming through and, doing great. Obviously, they got the catchphrase. I'm sure they're probably selling merchandise. I feel like the WWE are going to really give them the ball. I just hope they don't fuck it up by thinking, oh my God, Cass is going to be this massive star and let's leave Enzo on the side. I really hope they don't do that. I guess we'll kind of lead into the whole, I was going to talk about this later, but we'll talk about it now since we're on the topic, but the whole big Cass rumor that he's going to beat Brock Lesnar in the future. I mean, give me a break. I mean, come on. Big Cass is green. He doesn't, look, his promos, this is the thing as well. On Raw this week, they had Cass talk longer than Enzo. And that's why I find confusing. Enzo is meant to be the spokesperson. Cass is just meant to have the one word, the one line. Why the hell is Cass having more talking time than Enzo? That's Enzo's strength, apparently. So why are we, not really doing much with Enzo at all? Cass is getting the hot tag, getting the finish in and getting the wins. Enzo is meant to be the mouthpiece, but now Cass is doing both. So it's like, well, what's Enzo meant to do? So he just gets beaten up and then gets the hot tag. That's really his job, is it? So it's a little disappointing for Enzo there. So I would feel like Cass needs to kind of, cool it a bit on the promo time. But yeah, I know he's big. He's 6'9", and he's a big guy, but I don't think he's going to be like the next Brock Lesnar, which is some of these stupid news reports are kind of saying. I think Meltzer might have been one of them. They're grooming Cass to beat Lesnar in a few years' time. I think that's ridiculous, honestly. If the guy gets massively over, then okay, maybe you could consider it. But honestly, you're going to book him like Brock Lesnar? First of all, Cass doesn't look anything like Brock Lesnar. Doesn't have that physical... he's a big guy, but he doesn't have the look to him like, oh my God, this guy is a scary motherfucker. He doesn't have that intensity that Brock Lesnar has. And Cass can't work as good as Brock Lesnar either. So I don't think he really has the star potential look to him. I think he can be a top guy, but I don't think he's going to be the guy, So, I don't know. Look, it's too early to kind of say anything about him. You never know where he's going to be in 5 years' time. You really don't. But I think at the moment, these news reports, anyone thinking that Cass is going to, beat Lesnar or be the next Lesnar or anything like that, is just, you're an idiot, honestly. Sorry, but it's ridiculous. But yeah, I just want to finish that up. So Cena, a good reaction. It was good to see. So it was, the club versus Cena and Enzo and Cass should be a good match. I think that's going to be a good one, and I think it's good that we're cooling off a little bit on just the Cena and Styles thing for at least a month or so. Still having them interact, but it's not just about them kind of putting a few different factors in, and obviously giving Enzo and Cass a big match, and even getting Gallows and Anderson in there in the ring as well. I think it's just a good thing overall. Probably the main piece of news that came out of Raw this week, or things that we need to talk about, is that the Wyatt family and the New Day had a fight at their compound. Very, very unique timing, wasn't it? That it was very similar timing, because last week, what was it? The final deletion. Now, this week, we're having a match at the compound. I mean, yeah, that's just a coincidence, isn't it? But, some people saying, look, they didn't give a fuck, they don't watch TNA, they don't care. I think if that was the case, then we would have seen a Wyatt family compound match, or something, some fight, or something in the compound years ago. Why haven't they done this 2 or 3 years ago? When the Wyatts are doing the Shield thing, or doing the Daniel Bryan, the Team Hell No thing, all these different things, why haven't they done this years ago? Because this... I'm going to say I didn't personally think it was great, but I thought it was something different and something that really fit the Wyatts, something good for the Wyatts. Now I'm going to say, look, the only problem I really had with it was just the way it was produced. I found it a little hard to follow at times what was going on, the action there, just the way they edited it. The lighting even kind of made things a little tough. You could still see what was going on for a bit, but sometimes you kind of... you missed a few things. You couldn't quite see what weapons they were using. I had a few little problems kind of following on. It might have just been me. Maybe I'm just blind. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But that's just the way I perceived it. And also kind of doing the Wyatt thing where, they had the faces pop out, on the screen occasionally and doing those stupid things. I felt it fit the Wyatts, fit what they do, but I just felt like for this thing, it wasn't really necessary. So that's some of the production and editing things I didn't like. But in terms of the fight, Bray Wyatt had a pickaxe, fucking trying to hit Xavier Woods with it. They were using the car and slamming each other on the car through the glass, and all these really cool things that we don't really normally see very often. It was actually really cool. I actually really liked it. So the fight itself was kind of brutal. I didn't really know what to think of the ending there when they had all the people in the Wyatt family mask standing there. I don't know what to think. I kind of would have liked to see Luke Harper kind of make an appearance. I know he's got an ACL injury, but it would have been cool just to see him stand there and, look freaky and whatever he does, and just kind of give us those evil eyes, just to remind us that he's still there, he's still alive, because it feels like he's fallen off the face of the earth since his injury. I know they addressed it on commentary once or something like that, but, so it would have been good to kind of see him there, but, for the most part, I think it was good. I think I'd like to see more. I would have probably liked to have seen perhaps the Wyatt family, kidnap Xavier Woods or something like that, and kind of do something there, and, maybe Big E and Kofi Kingston have to try and fight them to get him back or something like that. I don't know, something crazy like that would have been cool. So, I don't know. I have no idea where they're going to go with this, but I am definitely intrigued. Very much so intrigued. I liked it. I think it's good to have something different, but I just felt like the way they edited it, they produced it, just kind of took it down a few notches for me. Very unique timing that they kind of had at the same, a week after the final deletion thing. If they weren't honestly taking ideas from TNA, thinking, oh, look at all the buzz about this final deletion match, we'll do something similar of our own. If it wasn't taking inspiration from that, they would have done something like this years ago. But they never did, so, I think it's just... it's not a coincidence, but I think they just kind of went, oh, look at the success of this, we'll do something with the Wyatts and the New Day. And fair enough. Why not? It worked good. I thought I liked it. And I haven't talked about the final deletion match. I guess we'll talk about it now since we're on the topic. But a lot of people saying it's, the greatest thing in the world. Oh my god, this is so good. TNA got an extra 100,000 viewers out of it, which is a great result for TNA. It's really good. I think they had the best rating that they've had since going on Pop TV. So it's fantastic that they got that result and they got that rating. It's really good to see. I think it went up to 400,000 viewers. The problem with TNA is they've got nothing else going for it. That's one match, one rivalry that they've got going with the two 40-year-olds. It's something different, something unique, something weird, goofy, silly. You can enjoy it if you take it for what it is. If you just kind of don't take it seriously, laugh at it a bit, just kind of, take it for what it is. These two guys, they're taking the piss out of themselves. You take it for what it is, you can enjoy it. If you're kind of taking it seriously as a fucking wrestling match, like, oh my god, this is such a shit match, this is stupid, why are they fighting here? You're not going to like it. Like, come on. So if you just take it for what it is, you can enjoy it. I don't think it was the best thing in the world, but I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool, different, unique. I thought it was different. And different is good. TNA doing something we haven't seen before or in a long time is good. We've seen the boiler room matches in the grocery store fights. We've seen all these different things where they take wrestling to different areas beyond the ring. People, getting thrown into the river and all that kind of crap. It's good. I like that. I think that's something that wrestling has missed over the last probably 10 years, at least the last 5 years, especially with the WWE, is doing things outside the ring. They constantly just have matches in the ring all the time. And, there's no real backstage fights. There's no arena fight, going out of the arena and fighting. Some of these things, that's realistic. Like these two guys at the same hotel as one another, they're going to fight each other because they don't fucking like each other. So, it's cool, meeting up outside the ring. Oh, AJ Styles, wouldn't it be good if, the whole let's beat up John Cena thing, wouldn't it be cool if they actually found John Cena eating at a restaurant or something and they just come out and fucking beat him up? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that make sense? Some of these different things, I get it can be difficult, whatever, it's risky, you got to pay money to do it, but, it's cool. It's cool. It adds to the show, makes the show better. And WWE, they're not strapped for cash. Stephanie said it. They've had a great quarter revenue, and they've all this doing well. They got plenty of money. Why not kind of use it to make your product better? And if your product's better, more people are gonna watch. Back in the Attitude Era when they would just fucking beat each other up wherever, it was cool. People like that. That's why Attitude Era was so hot. Because they did all these cool, unique, different things and just beat each other up wherever, and it was cool. The hardcore title thing, it was funny, it was silly, it was goofy, but it was fun. It was great. So that's where I think wrestling's missing a few of these elements. So the Hardy versus Hardy match, it's one great thing for TNA, but for their future, are they going to pop the same rating this week? I highly doubt it. I'd like to think that they will, just for the sake of their company, but I don't think so. But it's a nice thing to have. Finally, they've got some buzz after all this time, but it's one good thing with 100 different bad things to kind of have to worry about. So I just hope we don't see from TNA, people fighting in their compound or fighting in their backyard every damn week. We don't see some backyard wrestling or some shit happening every week. I think just the one-off was good, but hopefully we don't see that all the time. And that's what I'm saying the WWE needs to do either. I'm saying every now and then do something that's like this, do something where you go beyond the ring and do something. I think that it would certainly add to the show. But I like the Wyatt and New Day thing. I hope they follow it up with again. And I think another compound, something more there would be suitable. Again, just a little thing for me. Why, if you're the New Day, why would you go to their compound at night? Why would you do that? Why would you go there at night? Wouldn't you go there during the day when you feel, maybe a little bit more safer? Yeah. And how do they even know where the Wyatt family compound is? We don't know where it is. So how do they know? But whatever. General manager predictions. Next week, they're going to be announcing new general manager. I think for me, I'm going to pick Triple H to be the GM of Raw. And I'm going to go Daniel Bryan with the GM of SmackDown. The SmackDown one is anyone. Who knows? But I think Triple H is pretty certain. I'm not going to say certain, but because I'm probably going to be wrong. But it's a good chance. A lot of people throwing Eric Bischoff's name around. I can't see it happening. Don't see it happening, but hey, if it happens, I'd be okay for it. I really like Eric Bischoff. I think he's great. I listened to his podcast this week with Jim Ross. It was good, so I like Bischoff. I really do. So we'll see what's going on there. And no surprise that Shane and Stephanie are in charge of one of the other brands. I thought Shane was going to get SmackDown, so I think it's good. So I think, like, again, how can Raw, and even Vince said it as well, Stephanie's got the flagship show, our 3-hour special. She's got the best show. What a way to kind of bury SmackDown right there before it even starts. You're already saying Raw's more important before SmackDown even begins. So, and how can Shane truly compete if Raw's 3 fucking hours? You got to change Raw back to 2 hours, Vince. It has to be 2 hours. It has to be 2 hours. Otherwise, well, how can we have a fair brand extension? How can we have 2 brands battling each other when one brand gets an extra fucking hour? Not fair. But honestly, 2 hours is probably a better thing than 3 hours. So I would actually say, even if Raw has 3 hours, SmackDown's going to be the better show, honestly. You can do much better with a 2-hour show, because you look at Raw this week, I thought Raw was pretty good, but you could easily take an hour out of that show. If you took that one shitty hour out that they always have, and you left with that 2 hours there, that's a pretty good show. That's a pretty good show, but it's that one extra hour where it just drags on a little bit, and you're kind of sitting around going, oh yeah, the GM segment's later on, but I have to sit through another hour and a half of content before I get there. Instead of, oh yeah, I have to sit through another 45 minutes, but there's, the Wyatt family segment's coming up next, so only another, half an hour before, so, you get what I mean. It's that extra hour makes a big difference to the quality of the show, and I've been saying it, I'm beating a dead horse, but it's got to go back to 2 hours. If you want to have a fair brand extension, both shows got to be 2 hours. Don't make SmackDown 3, please, for the love of God, please, for my humanity, my sanity, everyone, for all wrestling fans, please, we don't want to see 3-hour SmackDown and 3-hour Raw. We want to see 2 hours and 2 hours. 4 hours in 2 days is fine. But 6 hours in 2 days, wow, that's a lot. And finally, Zack Ryder. Looks as though, I don't know what the hell's going on there. SmackDown, he got a clean win over Sheamus, and then what a way to kind of keep Zack Ryder's momentum going, having Sheamus bro kick him and beat him clean the next show. So, strange. You want to build the US champ, but you have him get, smashed up by Sheamus, and then Rusev, embarrasses him afterwards. So, is the Zack Ryder push really going to happen? A lot of people in my stream were saying, oh my god, Zack Ryder's getting a massive push. He's going to be the next US champion. I don't think so. I think Zack Ryder just giving Rusev an opponent. And it's strange that Zack Ryder, a guy who couldn't even get on Raw a year ago, is beating a former world champion, a guy that they absolutely love, in Sheamus. So that was strange, but, I guess Sheamus got his win back, so it really does nothing for Zack in the end, but, so that's Raw. Raw was a good show. I think we're kind of running a little bit long here, so we're going to get through some of these other things. A rumor going around that No Way Jose is going to get a push on NXT and beyond. He's going to be their next Latin star or whatever. Fun little gimmick, the little dancing thing, kind of doing the chant. I don't see it going far, but if they want to try and push that, go for it, but I don't see it going beyond. I think they're better off put their money in La Sombra, or what's his name? Andrade's Cien Almas or whatever. They're better off putting their money into that guy. He could be something, but the other, No Way Jose, I don't think so. Also, WWE has 21 new potential WWE Network shows. I actually really want to get into this, so we might spend some time on this. So let's talk. You probably have seen the list, but I want to give you guys my opinion. I want to laugh at some of these different ideas. So WWE goes viral. The best viral videos on the internet, the best viral videos the internet has to offer, displayed through the lens of the WWE. Who wants to see that? No one. Come on. WWE promo battles, superstars pitted against one another in a head-to-head improv wars, similar to like rap battles, but it's a promo battle. That would be very cringeworthy in my opinion, so I would like to not see that. That would be alright for like a little YouTube show a couple times, but as a WWE Network show, no. WWE All Access dive into the training and personal preparations of WWE superstars they undergo leading into their main event matches. So they follow them around when they're kind of training, in the gym, kind of working out, getting prepared. That would be okay. But I feel like you do that, you kind of like prying into the personal lives of the WWE wrestlers a little bit much. They already are so exposed now. So why do we need to kind of expose more of them? And, you know, eventually I could see it coming into eventually I could see it morphing into, like, the women kind of working out and the men just kind of, like, watching it, seeing Sasha Banks and Paige working out, you know? So I could see it going down that path, and that would not be good. WWE roast John Cena. So it's time to celebrate the life and career of John Cena with a no-holds-barred roast. Yeah, I think that'd be funny. I think that'd be, you know, that's okay. I could see that. You know, that's fine. Tap out fitness, train along superstars of various types of workouts. So this is probably what more I meant when they're working out. So I heard about this one earlier, so I kind of got the two mixed up. So with the whole workout thing, this is where they're gonna the guys are gonna want to watch, you know, Paige work out or whatever. The training and the personal preparation one, you know, I think that's okay. But they kind of do that already with, like, the WrestleMania, what is it, the 30 for 30 or whatever, I forget what it's called. You guys know what I mean, when they do that sometimes. So I don't think we need to do another edition of that. I think I just keep it with that. The fitness one, no, we don't need to see that. Goldberg's Garage joined former world champion Goldberg and his stunt performer wife Wanda, and the crew as they kind of check out his garage. That's more of like something you'd see on, like, a Discovery Channel or something like that. Talking SummerSlam, post-pay-per-view late night talk show driven by a conversation that is fun, edgy, and opinionated. Hosted by a celebrity/comedian panel on a cozy late night set. You had me before you said celebrity or comedian. If it was just wrestling people who actually are going to critique the show and actually kind of give real opinions and not just kind of say, the whole show was fantastic, I loved everything about it, Roman Reigns was fucking awesome. If they actually go a little bit beyond that and kind of say, look, didn't like that spot, you know, whatever, this sucked, you know, didn't like that match. If it was actually legitimate, then fair enough, but they will never do that. So we'll pass on that. And they already have a post-show for the pay-per-view, so why do we need another one? WWE Game Night. Superstars take on celebrities, athletes, and musical performers in games outside the ring to improve who has the ultimate bragging rights. That would be a fun little YouTube show. Again, and you know, that could be okay. Something like that. This one is just ridiculous. The Wives of Flair. Basically a multi-part documentary detailing the legendary personal life of Ric Flair. Why? We've already exposed the guy enough. We don't need to know more. We don't need to know about Ric Flair's life according to his ex-wives. That would just be a train wreck. History of the WWE, a 10-part documentary series detailing the entire history of the WWE. I'd like to see that. You know, if we know a lot about it in terms of the attitude and that, but I don't know a lot about the early days of the WWE. You know, when they were WWF, is that the 3 W's and the F? I would like to know more about that. So, yeah, well, let's do that. Miz and Mrs., the reality series following the Miz and Maurice around. No, thank you. WWE Kids, the first official WWE show for kids. Basically, kids interviewing and commentating over matches. Please, God, no. Everyone has a price. New series following auctioneers all over the US as they seek out and acquire and sell WWE memorabilia. I'm not really interested. Legends House, another season of Legends House. Yes, that'd be good. A WWE Divas search. Yeah, fuck it, why not? They've done that in the past, and I can get behind that. Like, you know, look, who doesn't want to see 10 beautiful women trying to become a wrestler? I mean, why not? You know, let them become a valley. They won't even probably make the main roster or anything like that, so whatever. Extreme Eats, real life best friends Bubba Ray and Tommy Dreamer team up to basically taste test food. No. The Third Wheel, two WWE fans agree to a blind date with a camera crew for documenting their experience. What they don't know is they're about to be joined by a very opinionated WWE superstar. Why would anyone want to see that? I don't know. Ask Me Anything Live, fans get unprecedented access to their favourite superstars and opportunity to ask them anything. So that's kind of interesting. They kind of did that in the past. I remember that with the Todd Grisham thing, and they would have like people calling up about TNA and shit, and I think there's a YouTube clip where he's like flipping out. So I could see that. That'd be okay. You know, get a Q&A with wrestlers. That's cool for the fans. Totally NXT follows 6 of the most competitive women doing whatever it takes to navigate the developmental system of NXT. Each season, a dream will come true as one amazing female athlete is given the opportunity to move up to the main roster of WWE, but also become the newest face of Total Divas. Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like, you move up to the main roster because you're ready and you're good enough, not because you want a talent show, like a reality show. So I'll probably pass on that. 50 dates, 50 states. A WWE Bachelor goes on 50 dates in 50 states to try and find true love. No, thank you. And WWE investigates. They investigate the most provocative stories in WWE history, such as the life and legacy of Eddie Guerrero. What would they really? Is there anything that they would really investigate that you want to know about? Like, are they going to investigate the Chris Benoit murders? I mean, not really. But that's just an idea of where they're thinking behind the network. So you notice that most of it's not really like, let's get a fucking wrestling show and let's do this. Most of it's reality shows and really shitty ones like dating shows and eating shows. Like, a lot of it's kind of like just not what I believe the wrestling fans want. I don't know what the wrestling fans want. They could have done these surveys, they could have done research, and they could have found that this is what the fans want. This is their most consumed product. What's that show called? The one where they prank people. I'm forgetting. I'm drawing a blank. But you guys what I mean. That show where they're doing the pranks on people and whatever, and that might be one of their most watched shows on the network. So you could see that people actually like this stuff, and that's where they're kind of coming up with these ideas because their customer data, their WWE network views, and their responses of what they're getting, that might represent what people interest them. So I could be completely wrong, but for me, as an outsider looking in, I feel like they're kind of missing the mark, and I don't feel like that's really a representation of what the fans are truly looking for. It's a lot of it's reality stuff, and a lot of it, I don't really want to see. Tim Duncan retiring. He's officially called it quits on his career. Not a big Tim Duncan fan. Obviously, I'm kind of relatively still new to the NBA, so when he was kind of winding his career down with the Spurs, that's when I kind of got into the NBA. But I'm hearing a lot of things like he's one of the best power forwards of all time. So he had a great career. He won a lot of championships. And he lasted a long, long time. So you have to kind of commend him for a long, really, really good career. And he was still very good up until the day he retired. So it wasn't like he was a bum, for the last 5 years. He was still doing well. And the Spurs have been very, very competitive. So a big loss for the Spurs. But it's, a legend of the team retiring, and finally we'll get to retire in peace. He was a great player for such a long time, so that was good. Kind of Kobe Bryant got the big retirement tour this year, and Tim Duncan just kind of walks away quietly. So that's just, I guess, what the two players are kind of like. But I don't know. Also, I've been watching a bit of the Summer League. Ben Simmons. And proving, he's getting a bit of a jump shot. That's where he's, kind of going wrong. He can't really score, but his passes are looking good. He's getting a lot of assists, so it's looking good. Another Aussie Thon Maker who went number 10 in the draft for the Bucks. I think he got 17 points or 17 rebounds the other day or something like that. I know it's the Summer League, but it's good to see some Aussies kind of getting in the NBA and got a lot of potential there. So that's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited as an Australian. There's some Aussies to kind of look forward to. Really all we have is Bogut, who is pretty good. Dellavedova, who, is pretty average. Pat Mills, he's okay. We don't really have any star players in the NBA. So it'd be cool if Simmons becomes one, even though, Simmons doesn't even sound really Australian. And Thonmaker is, doesn't look Australian either. So we'll take it, though. We'll take whatever we can get. We're happy. We've got something that we can cheer about in the NBA. But we'll get into your questions today. We're kind of getting a little bit long, so we'll quickly wrap it up with some of your questions.
Hi, Brendan. What do you make of the recent news that Kurt Hawkins and Jimmy Wang Yang have been contacted about a return to WWE for the brand split, and also which male or female superstar in 2K16 do you think needs sort of an overhaul, sort of their character, what they look like, or just generally about them? Thanks.
I think it's ridiculous that they're going to even consider bringing back Kurt Hawkins, who didn't draw a dime, was never going to go anywhere. So I really hope they don't bring him back, because he'd just be a waste of space on the roster. Honestly, it's just, I'm sorry to say that, but it's just the way it is. Jimmy Wang Yang, same deal. I mean, who really wants to see Jimmy Wang Yang? I mean, it was okay, 10 years ago? It's been that long. No one... I mean, I don't want to see that. I mean, honestly, let's focus on the talent they've got now. Plenty of guys in NXT doing well. Why are we bringing back, like, the lowest of lows from the independents? Why don't we kind of sign some of the top guys, like a Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, Ricochet? Why aren't we trying to get some of these guys into the WWE, sign them up to contracts and then, focus on them rather than bringing back some crap? I think they're bringing back Crime Time as well. Tag teams I can be okay with, because the tag division is so poor that I think any tag team is a good thing. But singles guys, wasting space because there's a lot of single stars. So singles wrestlers coming in is not a good thing, in my opinion. And for your other question, I would probably say Renee Young needs a bit of an overhaul. She did not look good at all on that game. The Bellas haven't looked... Oh, Nikki Bella didn't look that good. Bria looks okay on it. Yeah, that's probably about it.
Brandon, this is Cameron from Pennsylvania. What are your opinions on how Stephanie and Shane have to pick a general manager for their shows, or Vince McMahon will choose one for them?
I think both of them will pick one. I can't see them not picking a GM. That would just make no sense. Why would you roll the dice and have Vince pick for you? So, I think I mentioned earlier, I think Triple H, like I said, will probably be on Raw. SmackDown's a bit of a lottery. I think it will be a babyface, and Raw will have a heel. So I think a babyface Daniel Bryan would work. I think he'd be a good GM, and obviously lots of history between Triple H as well, so you can have that old rivalry, bring that back up. And that would obviously add to the whole storyline where Shane versus Stephanie. Well, you've had Daniel Bryan versus Triple H in the past, lots of history there, so it would make sense. So that'd be my two picks. And I think they're going to pick. So I don't think Vince is going to have to pick for anyone. Alrighty, some other questions here as well, coming from Mark Georgiev. We'll go with that. Do I think Randy Orton will beat Brock Lesnar? I don't think I mentioned it earlier in the show, but I was right last week. I predicted Lesnar and Orton, which is great. Very happy to see this match. Match we really, really wanted to see. I don't think Randy Orton will win. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense. Lesnar's fresh off a UFC victory. Why would you have Lesnar come back and lose? That wouldn't make any business sense at all. Randy Orton losing, though, wouldn't be a good thing either, so it's a bit of a lost situation, but I think Randy Orton will be fine. It's Randy damn Orton. He'll be okay. Very excited to have Orton back. Will he be a babyface? Who's going to be the babyface? Who's going to be the heel? That'll be the interesting thing. Lesnar cut a bit of a babyface promo after UFC, so it'd be kind of a little bit odd to have him back as a heel after that. I mean, they could still do it, but and Randy's obviously a much better heel than he is a babyface, so maybe a heel Orton versus a babyface Brock Lesnar. I'd be okay with that. I would have assumed it would have been the roles reversed, a babyface Orton, a heel Lesnar, but I think let's switch that. Let's go with a heel Orton versus a face Lesnar. And like I said, I think Lesnar will win. I think the next question here is coming from Thomas Speller. What do you think Nikki Bella's role in the WWE will be when she returns from injury without her sister Brie? Interesting one. Obviously, the rumor going around is that Nikki Bella could be pretty close to returning. I would like to see Nikki Bella come back and wrestle. I'd like to see Nikki Bella, it's an unpopular opinion, but I would like to see her do that. I'd like to see her come back and have a feud with Charlotte, if Charlotte's still the champion. Obviously, Nikki Bella lost the title to Charlotte. If Charlotte's still champion, I feel like Charlotte's going to lose it to Sasha Banks at SummerSlam, but for some reason, Charlotte is still champion. I would like to definitely see a storyline between Nikki and Charlotte about the longest reigning Divas Women's Champion, because Nikki Bella was the longest reigning champ. Charlotte's probably not that far away from beating her by the time Nikki Bella comes back, so it would make sense. Nikki's going to try and stop Charlotte from beating her reign, stop her from, take the title away from her or whatever. So I would have Nikki come back. I think it's probably in her last year. If she does come back, she'll probably have one last run in the ring. Have her come back and just kind of give back a bit, kind of put over your Becky Lynch's, put over your Sasha Banks, put them all over, and be on your way. Kind of maybe go until WrestleMania and call it quits at WrestleMania like Brie did. Nikki's got nothing else to do in the ring. She's done it all. She's, rich. She's got John Cena on her arm. She's okay. So don't think she really needs to keep wrestling. And I think she's got some other outside projects she can kind of focus on. So I'm sure she wants to get back in the ring, kind of finish it up, rather than an injury, but finish her on her own terms. So I'll let her do that. Let her put over some of the upcoming women, and she can kind of phase out. Probably something Natalya probably needs to do as well. Another one from Thomas. Which superstars do you think would benefit from time away from the WWE? Yeah, probably. It's a tough one. I think some of the guys I've wanted to see go away for a bit have been going away a little bit, like the Big Show. Even Sheamus has been, in and out a little bit, hasn't been featured as much. Cena's been in away a little bit. Roman Reigns probably needed a little bit of time away, and he's got it right now. So I think everyone that probably needed some time away has kind of had time away. So I don't know. I think there's no one I'm really sick to death of seeing on my TV at the moment, which is a little bit odd, a little bit rare. So I would probably say no one at the moment. I think time away as a whole, kind of cycling wrestlers in and out to preserve their health is a good thing overall. But in terms of someone I need to see gone because I'm sick of seeing them, probably no one at the moment. This one's from John Monahan. If you were to bring one video game on an island and stay there for a whole year, what video game would you pick? It'd have to be a game. Let's assume we'd have no internet because, we're on a fucking island. We won't have any internet. But let's assume no internet. It'd have to be a game that will take a long time to finish. It has to be like The Witcher 3 or Skyrim or something that would take me months to finish and has a lot of replay value. It has to be something I can play for a year and not drive myself insane. So something like The Witcher 3, I haven't finished The Witcher 3, and if I had all the DLC for The Witcher 3, I could play through that whole game. It'd probably take me a couple hundred hours to kind of do everything on the game, and I could probably replay that and do it all again, and I'd be okay. So I think it has to be an RPG. It has to be a game that you keep replaying. Obviously, if you had internet and I could have my way, if I had internet and I could say, let's assume that there's 100,000 people playing Modern Warfare 2 all the time, I would definitely play that, and I could keep playing that all day and day and day and be okay. So if I had it online and there was people playing, I'd probably pick that. But let's be realistic. I don't even know why we have a video game on an island, and we have electricity and power and a TV and a PS4, but we'll say The Witcher for the sake of a logical argument. This one comes from Hal Plays FIFA. Do you think this would be a good idea for the brand split? Kofi and Big E, SmackDown, Xavier and the Wyatts on Raw. If not, why? No, I don't think you should split anyone up. I don't know. Does he mean like the New Day on SmackDown, the Wyatts on Raw? I think you need to have most of your teams together. I think the New Day needs to be on one brand, and the Wyatt family needs to be on the other brand. Having them both on the same brand, I feel like they're the top two groups. Obviously, you can kind of factor in the club as well, but for me, they're like the top two groups. So you wouldn't want them on the same brand. You'd want them separately to be kind of like the flagship of the tag division on either brand. So for me, I'd have the New Day on Raw and Wyatts on SmackDown, or the other way around, whichever one you want. And another one here coming from Carter Blake. If the WWE decides to bring back the World Heavyweight Championship, do you think they should have the big gold belt or a completely new one? I think it's time to bring back a completely new one. I think the big gold belt has run its course, really degraded at the end of it. I think if you have a completely different design, a new look, to kind of usher in the new era, it would certainly benefit much more. I think you kind of need to, like the whole thing with Raw and SmackDown, they need to have unique sets, unique ring ropes. You need to have different look, different announcers. Everything's got to be different. Everything's got to be new. I think we've kind of focused on the old too much. Let's focus on something new. Let's create different things, and having a new title design, completely different to the other one, would certainly work pretty well. And final question today comes from Roy the Boy. What do you think about Pokemon Go, and do you play it? everyone is playing this game. Now, I actually haven't seen anyone walking around, looking at their phones, and getting run over by cars because they're trying to catch a Pokemon on the road. I haven't seen any of that yet because, honestly, I haven't been out and about that much. I was out and about a little bit today. I wasn't really paying that much attention, so I have played a little bit of it. Honestly, I don't really get the appeal. I love Pokemon. Pokemon was my favorite game as a kid, but I don't really get the appeal of it. I think it's secretly the perfect exercising app because everyone's walking around trying to catch these Pokemon. I've seen it in vlogs in the States, and I've seen actual Facebook events as well. People are getting groups together and they're going on walks and they're trying to catch Pokemon together. I mean, that's great. People are exercising, people getting outside and doing that. That's awesome. As long as you're not getting run over by cars when you're looking at your phone or doing anything stupid, I think it's great. I think the concept of it is not for me, but the what they've managed to accomplish, whether they wanted to achieve that or not, has been great. People have been walking and trying to catch Pokemon, which is cool. Like I said, not really for me. I mean, I don't really see the point of it because the whole thing, the reason I like Pokemon is I like training out my Pokemon. I like battling people. I like doing all that. I like versing gym leaders. I get that you can do that, but when I looked at the map on my game, there's none of that was anywhere near me. I live in the city, but it's not like my city. I live in the suburb area. I live, in a residential suburb. I live, it's pretty small. So it's not like there's everything around me that's, walking distance. I have to probably drive, 10, 15 minutes to find a fucking gym. I don't really want to do any of that. So if I ever go, let's say I go to uni for a day or something like that, and on my campus there's a gym and that'd be actually cool. I could see next time I go to uni, if Pokemon is still a thing, that would be pretty crazy to see. There's a gym or a Pokemon Center or whatever at my university campus. I could totally see so many people just playing, doing that. I can just see it now. So I think it's cool. How long will the trend last? Will it be a fad? Will it just fade away in a couple of weeks' time? That'll be the thing. They'll have to release new Pokemon. I think they've kind of held back on some Pokemon, only giving you access to certain Pokemon. So have they only just given you the originals? I haven't really seen that many Pokemon beyond the originals being caught. I could be wrong, very wrong, but yeah. So they'll release more Pokemon, and they'll give you more Pokemon to go and catch, more Pokemon to go and get. So it'll give you more reason to go out and play more. But yeah, like I said, it's not for me. I think I caught 4 or 5 Pokemon. I went to the grocery store and I loaded it up. I'm like, well, I'm outside. I'm at the grocery store. Let me play this game because I'll actually be able to catch a Pokemon. And I did it for a little bit. And I just didn't really like it that much. So not really for me. But yeah. So I think the hidden meaning behind it's kind of cool. So. Alrighty guys, that will do it for this week's edition of the Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it around with your friends. Continue to like the videos. The more likes we get, the better we can do. The more I know that you like the podcast. So if you are watching right now on YouTube, stop what you're doing. Give this video a like. It really, really helps me out. Leave a comment for next week's show. Lots of draft talk will be next week. Obviously, the draft. Actually, no, we won't have the draft next week. We'll be on the day before the draft, so that kind of suck. I'm still kind of undecided if I'm going to move the show to Thursdays. I think I might make it Let's Talk Thursdays because obviously I want to cover SmackDown and Raw, so I feel like I'm only every week I'm going to be doing just Raw, and then SmackDown's going to happen the next day. I'm missing out on so much, so I think maybe next week we might even go live, well, not live, but we'll go up on a Thursday, so we might even rebrand the show. I think that might probably be the case. So we might be on a Thursday next week, undecided, but we'll talk all about the entire draft. We are on Thursdays. We'll talk all about the draft. We'll cover it all, my thoughts and opinions. I think I might do a video on the channel this week as well. On WWE.com, they have the whole pick your own roster, do your own draft kind of thing. I think I might do that and do a video about it. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know. And just continue to spread the word about the shows. Check out our Patreon page. Support me on Patreon if you are able to. It would really help out a lot, and I would really appreciate that. Everyone who is on the Patreon, I'll be doing the shout-outs. Maybe next week we might do that. We'll see. And hope you guys have a great week. Like I said, leave a question for next week and do it in the comments of the YouTube video over on Facebook, or when we post the Facebook post. We usually post that on Monday nights or Tuesday mornings. So you do that there. Leave a voicemail for next week's show as well. So guys, have a great week. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And I might see you next Tuesday or next Thursday. I don't know yet. But I'll see you next week. And keep an eye out for more Universe Mode videos later on today and tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week.